guys? Kevin Davis from kevinstrek.com. Want to do a quick another video in the series on building your own at-home gym. This one's in response actually to a question I got from James Draws, one of the manliest at-home training athletes that I've worked with. So I of course wanted to get right on it and show you guys how to do this. A pull-up bar is definitely going to be one of the main things that you're going to want to have in your at-home gym anyway. So it makes sense to put this up pretty quickly. It's something you can do cheap, something that's actually relatively easy if you're at all good with your hands. And if not, watch this video and you'll learn how. So the couple of things that you're going to need, it's actually pretty simple. You're going to need some 3-inch screws. Just 3-inch wood screws will work plenty fine for most of what you're going to do. Unless you're putting up something much longer, you may want some additional support. In my gym, I put up one that was about 10 feet long, and so because of that, I actually had some extra bracing in between, and I used lag bolts to actually go through into a full beam rather than just the 3-inch screws. But typically your 3-inch screws are going to be plenty of support for what you need. Those are used structurally when you're building decks and things like that on a house anyway. So 3-inch nails and screws. So those should be plenty. Okay, so you're going to need the screws. You're going to need a drill or a ratcheting screw gun to be able to put them in. Okay. The couple of pieces that you'll need for the bar itself. I actually, to build these, I just use regular galvanized steel pipe. You go into the plumbing area at your local hardware store, Home Depot or Lowe's, and you can get everything that you need for building your pull-up bar. So I use the steel pipe. You can actually get them at Home Depot or Lowe's, any of those major chains. They'll actually cut the pipe for you. So if you initially measure the width, if you're doing it in a doorway or in between beams, you can measure the width that you've got and have them cut it to that length, but make sure that you have them put threads on the cut side, just like so, because you're going to want to be able to screw something onto there. Okay, so just a piece of pipe in the length that you want your pull-up bar to be. And then you'll need these, what are called floor flanges. Very simple little piece. Okay, you can see what this looks like. It's got a little part where you insert and screw in the pipe, and it's got some holes there, which is where you're going to screw it in. Okay, these floor flanges you can get for a couple of bucks. Make sure you get it in the same size as the pipe that you've bought. And I personally generally use a 1-inch pipe for these pull-up bars. You can go a little thicker if you want to do a little more grip training with your pull-ups. Okay, floor flange for a couple of bucks. You're gonna need one of those for each end. Pipe. Generally, the cheapest way to buy the pipe is in a 10-foot section rather than in smaller sections. If you want it shorter than that, which you probably will, just ask them to cut it off of a 10-foot piece, and then you'll get a couple of pieces for the same price as buying a shorter one. So what you're going to do first is you're going to take your piece of pipe, and if you're going in between things, that's the only things you need. You're going to take your piece of pipe, screw it onto the floor flange, okay, get it on there good and tight. Make sure you put one on both ends. That's the first step, okay? Next, you're going to simply lift your pipe up into the space between the boards or between the doorway that you're on, and you're just screwing one 3-inch screw into each of these holes. That'll be very supportive and more than strong enough for what you need, even if you're doing a kipping pull-up, okay? The other option that you've got is if you want to place it just on a wall or hanging down from a ceiling. First of all, you want to make sure that you're going into studs. Okay, if you're going just into drywall, it's not going to hang well. The only other thing you would need to do that is then you would need an elbow, okay, which is again another section that you can buy a piece just like you bought the floor flange. Loud noise out here for some reason. So you buy that elbow again for a couple of bucks. But from that elbow, then remember you're going to need a nipple. You're going to need a piece that is just threaded on both ends, and you can just buy a simple, 3-inch long piece or 4-inch long piece to connect the floor flange to that and the elbow. Just make sure you put all your pieces together before you screw them up to the wall or the ceiling. I mentioned that I did one that was about 10 feet long. If you're going to do anything really long like that, you'll want to add some additional supports in the center. What I've done to make those supports work is just get a smaller piece, okay, with a T. And you'll take your longer piece and insert it into that T, and then you'll hang that T into the wall just like you would at the ends, and that adds some additional support. If you've got something, anything long, 6, 8, 10 feet, it will sag in the middle if you don't do that. So that's really all it takes to put up a pull-up bar. Screw together a couple of pieces just like you were doing some plumbing, and screw them onto your wall. Thanks.